The drawings in the attic. The dust in the attic was thick, swirling in the golden shafts of late afternoon sunlight. Ada Wells coughed as she pried open the battered trunk that had been sealed for decades. The old farmhouse, long abandoned since her grandmother's passing, felt like a mausoleum of forgotten memories. She brushed aside yellowed newspapers and brittle photographs until her fingers found something strange: tattered leather-bound journals, carefully wrapped in faded silk. Ada's breath caught as she lifted them, her eyes drawn to the topmost cover where a single word was etched in delicate handwriting: Vesper. The name triggered something deep in her memory. Her grandmother, Dr. Eleanor Wells, had murmured it often in her final years, between bouts of confusion and fevered obsession. Ada remembered the woman sketching for hours on end, filling notebooks with intricate drawings of the same ship, smooth, curved lines that didn't match any known human or alien design. As a child, she had thought it was a fantasy, her grandmother's mind slipping away. But now, holding these fragile journals, Ada wasn't so sure. She opened the first one, page after page of the same ship, a graceful crescent shape with strange glyphs along its hull. Some images were surrounded by alien constellations, others by swirling symbols she didn't recognize. Intermixed with the drawings were maps, star charts annotated with precise coordinates. Beneath the stack, she found something even stranger: a small crystalline data drive sealed in a metal case, along with a sealed letter in her grandmother's careful, looping handwriting. To Ada, if you're reading this, then I have failed to finish what I started. The Vesper is real. It was never a dream. The memories were never mine alone. Find it. You must finish this. For us. For Earth. Ada sat down hard on the dusty floor. Her grandmother had been one of the leading xenolinguists during the early Alliance conflicts. She had testified before the Terran Council about alien communication systems and the importance of preserving pre-spaceflight cultural artifacts. And then she had simply broken, retired early, spent her remaining years painting this same haunting image over and over. What if it hadn't been madness? Shaking off her unease, Ada carefully gathered the materials and headed back to her hover truck, her heart pounding. She had no more. The next day, in her university office, Ada digitized the journals and decrypted the old drive using her lab's advanced AI. At first, she found fragments, garbled star maps, corrupted log entries, and flashes of video that barely made sense. But then, slowly, the picture began to clear. The coordinates were real, deep space beyond the Orion frontier, far beyond regular trade routes or military patrols. The same system appeared in multiple star charts across different centuries. Somehow, the location persisted. Even more unsettling were the fragments of text, half in English, half in an ancient language no one on Earth used anymore. We are the last. Vesper remains. Bloodline memory persists. Ada leaned back, chills prickling her skin. The mention of bloodline. Was this some kind of genetic marker? Some memory embedded in her grandmother's very DNA? Pulling up EarthGov's restricted archives, courtesy of her research clearance, she dug deeper. Dr. Eleanor Wells had been part of a classified project named Relic during the early Human Alliance Wars. The project had focused on non-terrestrial artifacts of unknown origin. The files were heavily redacted, but Ada spotted one image in the declassified materials: a grainy photo of the same ship her grandmother had drawn. The file was dated 2091 AD, over 80 years ago. The implications were staggering. Her grandmother hadn't invented the ship. She had seen it, and possibly more. By the end of the week, Ada made her decision. She contacted an old acquaintance, Captain Reese Calder, a war-hardened ex-Navy officer turned independent explorer. She also reached out to Kira Sue, a brilliant tech engineer with a penchant for decrypting alien tech. With a small fund pulled from university grants and private savings, she secured passage on the Dauntless, a medium-class exploration vessel. They would follow the map. They would find a ship. Ada stood at the shuttle port, the journals clutched under her arm, and whispered under her breath, "Grandma, I'm going to finish what you started." The stars above blinked coldly, unaware of the ancient memory stirring back to life. The ghost in the black. The Dauntless emerged from warp space with a lurch, the stars snapping back into clarity around them. Before them stretched the dark canvas of an uncharted system, a dying sun, a shattered moon, and fragments of asteroid belts drifting like frozen bones. Ada Wells leaned over the viewing deck, her heart pounding in her chest. They had followed the coordinates exactly, crossing abandoned war zones and slipping through decaying wormholes that hadn't seen traffic in decades. No patrols, no satellites, no life, only the black. Picking up faint energy readings, Kira Sue murmured from the console, her fingers dancing across the glowing hollow display. Very faint. Power signatures ancient, like pre-Alliance tech. Or older. Any ships? Captain Reese Calder asked, his eyes narrowing beneath a furrowed brow. Nothing moving. But something's here. The tension on the bridge was palpable. Ada's hands clenched into fists. She could barely breathe as the Dauntless glided into the debris field, sensors pinging off twisted metal and stone. And then they saw it. The ship drifted on the edge of the ruined moon's shadow, perfectly intact, its curved silver hull untouched by time. Smooth lines, no visible engines, no damage. Exactly as her grandmother had drawn it, countless times over countless years. By the void, Calder whispered. That's not human. No, Ada breathed. But it is. The vessel was massive, larger than any modern destroyer, but without any of the standard features. No external thrusters, no visible weapons, no insignia. Its surface glowed faintly with alien glyphs, etched in patterns that defied logic. And yet, in the center of its hull, one unmistakable symbol remained. The faded outline of Earth's ancient flag. Pre-spaceflight, pre-Alliance. This ship is human, Ada murmured, stunned. Or it was. They prepped for boarding in silence. The Dauntless docking clamps connected with a strange aperture on the ship's flank, and the airlock hissed open. Beyond the threshold lay darkness, unnatural, heavy, silent. Ada led the way, her grandmother's journal clutched tightly under her arm, her pulse a frantic drumbeat in her ears. Kira followed with scanning equipment, while Calder kept his hand near the pulse rifle at his hip. The corridor was smooth and seamless, metallic walls without bolts, without weld lines, without decay. Lights flickered sporadically, as if sensing their presence. The air was breathable but stale, as if the ship had been sealed for centuries. They found the first body 10 minutes in. It was desiccated, twisted into a fetal position, its suit ancient and alien in design. The skull, though oddly elongated, was unmistakably human beneath the cracked visor. Ada knelt, breath catching her throat. "It's us," she whispered. "Human. Or something close." Further inside, they found more bodies, some with unmistakably alien physiology. Extra limbs, exoskeletal features, non-human facial structures. But mixed among them were others, clearly Homo sapiens. The ship had been crewed by a mix of species. A coalition, or something older. "This is wrong," Calder muttered, sweeping his light across the walls. "Humanity didn't come out here before the Alliance. We only made first contact 150 years ago. This thing, this ship, it's thousands of years old." They reached the command deck, a vast, domed chamber with a crystalline core suspended in midair, pulsing with faint light. Holographic symbols flickered as they entered, as if awakening. Kira's scanners lit up. "The ship's still partially powered," she said. "Systems are responding to us. But I don't understand the code. It's not fully alien, but it's not modern Terran either. It's hybrid." Ada felt a strange pull, like distant voices brushing the edges of her thoughts. She stepped toward the crystalline core, her fingertips brushing the cold surface. The ship reacted instantly. The walls ignited with light. Ancient star maps and holographic figures bloomed in the air around them. Images of Earth as it once was, but not as anyone living remembered it. Massive arcologies, fleets of ships unlike anything in modern records. Then war. Fire. Black ships descending from the void. A voice, soft, genderless, filled the chamber in a language Ada didn't consciously know, but somehow understood. Bloodline recognized. Memory persists. Welcome home, Warden Wells. She stumbled back, her breath sharp. It knows me, she gasped. It knows my family. Kira's face was pale. Ada, this ship is remembering you. It's waking up because of you. And then, the final horror. Through the flickering projections, they saw what the ship had fled from. Organic warships shaped like twisted bones and black sinew, descending upon worlds, tearing through defenses like paper. The same enemy, again and again. The silencers. Ada's voice trembled. This wasn't the first time humanity reached the stars. We've been here before. The past was not dead. It was waiting, the human empire forgotten. The cold light from the ancient holograms cast long shadows over the silent command deck. Ada stood frozen, her heart pounding as the ship's memory played out in fragmented scenes. Worlds burning, fleets clashing in dark space, and strange symbols that shifted before her eyes. This can't be real, Kira whispered, her voice shaky. None of this is in the archives. There's no record of any of this. But Ada already knew. In her bones, in the pull of something ancient stirring inside her blood, she knew the truth. It's real, she murmured. This isn't the first time humans were out here. We had an empire once. We lost it. The crystalline core pulsed again, brighter this time. The voice, calm, soft, unervingly human, returned. Warden Wells. Heritage match confirmed. Directive memory restored. Prepare for data transfer. Ada's grandmother's name, Wells. Her own. This ship, Vesper, was tied to her family. The memories weren't visions or madness. They were genetic. They spent hours piecing together fragments from the ship's damaged data core. Kira, working with Calder's help, restored enough of the system to display what little remained of Vesper's historical logs. The images were devastating. Humanity, true humanity, had not been a latecomer to the stars. The first Terran expansion had begun over 100,000 years earlier, in an era erased by time, planetary extinction events, and forgotten wars. Humanity had been apex predators, builders of Dyson rings, planetary-scale cities, and deep space armadas. And then they met them. The Silencers, biological apex species, hive-minded and singular in purpose. Extinction. They had no interest in diplomacy, only annihilation. Ada's stomach churned as she watched the visual logs. Entire worlds consumed by living warships, oceans boiled away, planets shattered. The original human empire had fought and died, trying to stop them. Some of them must have survived, Kira said softly. Escaped, came back to Earth. Started over. That's why we have no memory of any of this. Ada nodded. Earth fell into dark ages. The survivors must have been cut off from space for tens of thousands of years. Civilizations rising and collapsing until we forgot everything. The revelation was shattering. Modern humanity, the Terran Republic, the Alliance, everything they knew was a second beginning, not the first. They were the descendants of survivors of an ancient cosmic genocide. Calder grimaced. If these things are still out there, we just painted a target on ourselves by lighting this ship up. Their fears became reality hours later. The dauntless alarms blared suddenly, sharp and urgent. Kira's voice cracked over the comms. Contact, unknown vessel inbound. Fast. Ada and Calder sprinted back to their ship. On the viewing screens, a new shape emerged from the black. A grotesque, organic warship, its surface writhing as if alive. It was enormous, larger than anything Ada had seen in her lifetime. The Silencers. Defensive systems activating, Kira said, breathless, her fingers flying across the controls. But we're outgunned. If they hit us, we're dust. The Vesper, still silent, seemed to pulse brighter. Ada felt the hum beneath her feet, a vibration deep inside the ship, almost like a heartbeat. And then the voice returned. Hostile species identified. Emergency protocol override. Initiating defense sequence. Warden authorization confirmed. Without anyone touching the controls, the Vesper came to life. Massive weapons, silent until now. unfolded from the ship's seamless hull. Energy fields shimmered around it, glowing with impossible light. The first shot from the silencer ship, some sort of bioplasma beam, struck harmlessly against an ancient barrier far beyond current Terran tech. And then Vesper struck back. One beam, silent, blinding. The silencer ship exploded into twisted fragments, its monstrous form vaporized in an instant. The bridge was deathly silent. Kira exhaled slowly, trembling. That weapon. It's not like anything we have. Ada swallowed hard. Her hands were shaking. We didn't evolve into the stars. We were born from them. We fell, but we were here first. The Vesper's systems continued to come online, ancient programs booting, encrypted systems flickering. Data began to flow. Maps, names, star systems long lost. Humanity's old empire wasn't gone. It was waiting to be remembered. Earth has to know, Calder said softly. We need to warn them. This changes everything. Ada's eyes narrowed as she watched the distant debris drift through the void. We're not the children of the galaxy, she murmured. We're the ancestors. And the galaxy was about to remember. We are not the children. We are the ancients. The Vesper moved like a living thing through the darkness, silent, smooth, and terrifyingly efficient. Its ancient systems pulsed with renewed life, guided by a dormant intelligence that now responded only to Ada Wells. The ship knew her bloodline. And more than that, it had been waiting. Back on the Dauntless Bridge, Captain Calder kept scanning the perimeter, hands tight on the console. No more incoming contacts, Kira announced, her voice still shaky. That silencer scout must have been alone. For now, Calder muttered. We won't be that lucky twice. Ada's gaze remained fixed on the Vesper's command holograms. The ship had begun downloading vast amounts of data, records of the old wars, technological schematics, navigational charts, and something more. Messages. Human voices from across a gulf of time, preserved in the ship's core. One message, marked as directive memory, played on its own. A weathered man in archaic armor appeared in the projection. His voice was solemn, burdened with exhaustion. If you're hearing this, then we failed. Humanity has fallen. The Terran banner is no more. But we leave this ship, this ark, carrying our knowledge and our warning. The silencers are death itself. Should our descendants rise again, remember this. We were never meant to hide. We were meant to endure. The recording faded, but its weight remained, pressing on Ada's heart. The decision was clear. We have to bring this back, Ada said, her voice steadier now. The Vesper, its technology, its history, it belongs to Earth. We can't leave it here to rot in the dark. Calder hesitated. That ship's a relic of a war nobody remembers. We light this beacon, we might draw attention from more than just silencers. Other powers. The Alliance. Hell, even EarthGov might bury it again. Ada looked him in the eye. We can't be afraid of who we were. Kira nodded. If we stay small, we'll be crushed the moment something bigger comes along. This changes everything. We can't go back to pretending humanity's weak or young. They made the call. With Vesper's AI fully awakened, the ancient vessel linked with the Dauntless, stabilizing war coordinates and powering up propulsion systems unseen in the modern age. The ship itself seemed eager, as if yearning to return home. The jump back to Terran space was flawless. The Vesper didn't just move through space. It bent it, folding reality in ways modern ships couldn't replicate. In mere hours, they crossed distances that would have taken months. Earth's blue-green sphere loomed before them, innocent and unaware. Terran control went into panic the moment the Vesper's massive, unfamiliar silhouette appeared on sensors. Defense satellites locked on. Fleet ships scrambled from lunar stations. This is Ada Wells aboard the exploration ship Dauntless, she transmitted, her voice calm but firm. We come in peace. The ship you see is Vesper, an artifact from humanity's first empire. We are bringing her home. The channels went silent. Then, slowly, the orders changed. Weapons disengaged. A welcome party assembled. Hours later, standing before Earth's Unified Defense Council, Ada told the truth. She showed them the logs, the images of the ancient wars, the maps of the long-dead Terran Empire. She showed them the shattered systems and the monstrous forms of the silencers, still alive, still hunting in forgotten corners of the galaxy. And most importantly, she showed them the Vesper itself, an undeniable symbol that humanity had once ruled the stars not as children, but as architects of something far greater. The reaction was swift. Earth mobilized. Within weeks, scientific teams, military strategists, and historians flooded the Vesper. The media, once skeptical, hailed it as the discovery of the millennium. The idea of humanity as inheritors of a forgotten throne swept across every network and channel. The Terran Republic shifted overnight from a cautious player on the galactic stage to something far more dangerous, a civilization with a claim to ancient power. Ada stood once more on Vesper's bridge, now restored, alive with energy. Her fingertips brushed the crystal core as the AI's voice greeted her like an old friend. "Welcome home, Warden Wells. Directive memory complete. Shall we continue the journey?" She exhaled slowly. "Yes," she whispered. "We're not done." Captain Calder stood beside her. "The Council's already talking about expansion," he said quietly. "They're calling this the Second Awakening." Ada's lips curled into a faint smile. "It's not an awakening. It's a return. Somewhere in the black, in the forgotten corners of the stars, she knew the silencers were stirring too. The ancient war wasn't over. But this time, humanity wouldn't run. They would fight, and they would reclaim what was once theirs.